It's funny because anybody that knows me or like family members or anything, they think like once I quit my full-time job that I'm just like lounging around the house and just going and hunting when I want and doing that. And I'm like, man, I'm busier than I ever was right now.
Yeah, for sure. How hard, like, what's that transition been like so far? Because it's over a year and a half now.
It's literally a year to the day of right now when we're recording
Really?
this. So yeah.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, so no, it's been good, but it's been challenging from the standpoint of I'm a very scheduled guy, and like I did well under the 7 to 4 structure that I had to do there, and with this style of I guess with the podcast and everything, it's a little bit different. Like I think most days I stay under a pretty strict schedule, but like also it's like I can take advantage of go out in the woods if I want and do things at random times during the week and maybe work on the weekend instead, and it's like I'm
Mhm.
getting more hours in. It's just not in those exact same time windows as I used to do. So that was like I'd get this feeling of guilt if I'd be like out in the woods, and I'm like, no, this is part of what I need to do. Like this is part of
Right.
part of work. But no, it's been good. It's been a good transition. I really can't even imagine going back to anything like I was doing. I can tell you that.
That's good. That's excellent.
Yeah. So what was your background from like the work standpoint? Because I met you through Exodus, so as the listeners will hear here, but then and now you're doing real estate and you got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, man. So I actually got my real estate license my senior year of college, and I always had a natural curiosity of land, had the goal of owning land, and I just felt like that was one of the easiest paths of figuring, like, surround yourself with where you want to be. And so other land brokers that have been doing it for a long time, other land buyers, land sellers. And so I guess the brief history of mine is got my real estate license my senior year of college. I actually started interning with Exodus my senior year of college to graduate. So that was 2017, 2016. And I've had my license ever since, and then I've been with Exodus ever since. So I've kind of had both careers grow side by side. And I don't want to give the illusion that I had a lot of success with real estate out of the gate. It took some time. I lived in the suburbs of Chicago for about a year and a half, 2 years, and really disliked that. And so once once I got back to uh, where my wife and I are from, and so that's when my real estate career really started to get some footing and traction. And really, the last 3 or 4 years have been awesome. I've learned so much. I've met so many awesome people, and so that's where I'm here today.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. I didn't realize that from your background that you had done the real estate thing, first essentially, or like kind of wanted to go that path. And I thought Exodus was like first, and then you decided like to go off and do this as well.
Yeah, my junior year of college, I was like, I'm gonna get my license because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do post grad, and so I was getting my license, and then I ended up passing the test my senior year. I skipped class. My roommate drove me up, and I'm reading the book while I'm going up there, and so I got it passed, and then it kind of worked out to where real estate obviously is very cyclical. It's not, we're talking about freedoms and things of that nature, which means you're not sure when you're going to get your next payday. And so I wanted to kind of grow those two careers in tangent, and that's what I've done. And it's been it's been a good formula so far. I think last year was extremely busy, and so from both standpoints of Exodus and then also real estate. So it has been a little challenging at times to balance all of them. Um, but given my radius of where I serve has gotten tighter because of time constraints. So I've just really honed in my backyard and leveraged my knowledge of the area and really try to help people, buyers and sellers.
Yeah, and I can imagine as Exodus is growing like crazy, and you're just involved right in the very I guess base structure of the company and building it and planning and doing that's challenging, and then with the real estate side of it too. But that is nice that it is a little bit more flexible as far as kind of the work schedule there.
Yeah, I mean, last year, I don't think I really had a full weekend to myself the entire year. Because, I mean, that's when most people are looking at farms as the weekends or after work. And so it does complement each other very well. I just don't get as much farm projects and things that I want to get done, which is fine. But you really have to be concise with your time. I've started getting up way earlier to get uninterrupted work time. Get 2 hours before the day really starts, and that in itself has been impactful to getting more productive and just squeezing more hours out of the day. So that's something I've adopted pretty heavily in the last year and a half or so.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And what's funny is I've always heard everybody talk about, real estate agents or land agents or however you want to, it's like, oh man, that's a dream job. Like you just go out and walk properties and show things. But like I see it from the side. I know enough people like yourself and everybody else that it is one of those things that it can be really great at times when you got sales coming in, and it can be really slow when you're working off, commission.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people think the job's really easy, and there's certainly jobs that are harder than what that is. But I don't think people realize that just because you're a good deer hunter or you can pick a piece apart, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a good real estate agent, because there's so much that goes into it: the financing, understanding people's goals, understanding the process intimately, and having enough deals under your belt to understand what roadblocks may come down in a deal and communicate that with your buyers before they get into the deal or the sellers. And so I think some of the best agents that I know have both. They understand land. They're lifetime learners. They're trying to learn as much as possible from as many people as possible. Understand government contracts for CRP or EQIP, and understanding different bills that are coming down the pipeline, and then also understanding what the potential neighborhood is for deer. If that's really important, you really need to be transparent with them. Like, hey, what is your goals? Well, I want to kill a solid deer. Okay, this neighborhood can accomplish that.
Yeah.
I want to kill Boone and Crockett deer. I think we should keep looking.
Yeah.
It's all encompassing, and it's something that you have to be completely bought into to really provide a service, because that's the last thing I want a buyer or a seller to feel, that they didn't have a true representation of what they expected. And I think that that's really key, and the best agents do that.
It's kind of funny because that is similar to deer hunting from the standpoint. It's like, okay, you look at it, and when you want to go hunt somewhere, it's like, okay, what are your goals? And thinking about like the size of the animal, like what do you want to try to have an opportunity to 170-inch plus buck? Okay, well, is that possible in Pennsylvania? Yeah, that's possible, but you may want to look somewhere else. Now what's your budget look like?
Exactly.
As far as like, do you want to go with an outfitter, or what's your budget even in time? Because if you're going to do it yourself, you're still got to probably put in a lot of time and like an understanding. Like I'm sure that kind of goes hand in hand with, buying land and land management and all of that.
Yeah, it's I think that's something that a lot of buyers struggle with, is having realistic expectations from a lot of different things. You have guys that are stuck from prices 10 years ago, and then maybe their expectations will never be in line with where things are at or where they're going to be. And also just realizing that, the amazing honey hole deal with incredible hunting and next to a giant tract, that those are so far and few in between. And you could sit and wait for 20 years for that deal to happen. And I think you're better off to get the ball rolling and get some deals under your belt as a buyer. And you're going to learn and get a break along the way. But the analysis by paralysis is very deep with a lot of buyers, in my opinion.